Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Foundation Fest, and today I'm going to check out from Makeup Revolution. The Conceal and Glow Foundation retails for $12 for 0.8 ounces of product. That's 23 mils, so that is approximately $15 per ounce if you're comparing apples to apples. I've got it in shade F2, which is described as fair with pink undertones. This buildable coverage foundation has been pumped with brightening vitamin C, plus light reflecting pearl particles for the ultimate skin loving radiant finish. Simply blend over the complexion and watch your skin appear effortlessly illuminated, brightened, and gorgeously glowing all day long, cruelty free and vegan. Looking at the ingredients, it looks to be silicone based. There's some oils in here, there's some natural extracts in here, and nothing too surprising going on there. Let's take a look at shade F2 swatched against a few others in my collection. Hey, it's Friday, and on Fridays we swatch. First up is today's foundation, the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Glow in shade F2. Second is also Makeup Revolution, the Conceal and Hydrate in F3. Third up, I've got CYO Life Proof in 101. Fourth is the NYX Born to Glow in Light Ivory. And last, I've got from CoverGirl the True Blend Matte Made in shade L20. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreen this 46-year-old face. I've primed with the Good Molecule silicone-free moisturizing primer. I will go in on one side of my face with a dampened sponge and the other with a brush. This is the LaRousse Kabuki. We will see if there is a preference one way or the other. This blends out easily. I don't see any added fragrance ingredients in the list of ingredients, but this does have a little bit of a scent to it. I would say maybe it's just the product. I don't think it's an intentional scent, but I do smell something. I don't have a very sensitive nose, so if I smell something, it probably smells a bit. I would say this is actually doing pretty surprisingly well at redness coverage on my chin, especially. Maybe a little bit light. I feel like the numbering on this is different because F2, I think in their other lines, is more of the warmer undertone, and I feel like I'm normally an F3 in their other ones. So, but this is described as fair pink, which I think it is, so that don't necessarily count on the numbering being the same, but this does come in 20 different shades, so it's a decent, if not fantastic, shade range. It's okay. Let's try the brush side. This blends out fine with the brush as well, but I do feel like I prefer the finish and maybe even just how it blends out just a little bit more with the sponge. I don't think I got as much coverage of redness with the brush. Let's take what I have left and try and get a little more coverage over that redness and just kind of even everything out. This shade is a smidge too light for me if it doesn't oxidize at all, but there's two things I'm noticing about the finish of this foundation. Number one, it's kind of sitting on the skin, especially along my cheeks on both sides. And number two, it's really not as glowy as I anticipated. I mean, I see some reflect on my forehead, but I was expecting it to be a little bit more glowy. It's not really super glowy. It didn't really build up much coverage. It's fine, like there's no problem with the building process, but I don't think the coverage improved much. I just see redness coming through on my cheek here, and my blue blood vessel is still quite visible. So I think that initial coverage you get is kind of all you're going to get. You know, I still see sunspots poking through here. Let's take a look up close. It is sitting fairly nicely on some areas of my skin. The area around my mouth, it's not smoothing over my fine lines, but it's not accentuating them and it's not settling into them. It is I'd say doing a decent job at blurring pores. They're not super visible, and I'm not wearing a pore filling primer, so it's really, any blurring is happening from the foundation. It doesn't sit very nicely on either of my cheeks. I just feel like I can kind of see little speckles of foundation that don't want to sort of melt together on the skin. Looks good on my nose, nothing clinging between my eyebrows. Looks fine on my forehead. It just has a couple little quirky spots to it that aren't my favorite ever, but we'll see how this goes. Let's check the time. It is 11:42. Let me put the rest of my face on. I'll be right back. Back with the Conceal and Glow. I'm trying to withhold judgment so early in the process, but this is not the finish I was expecting. I mean, it's like satin to me, which is fine, but it's not what I'm expecting when the name says glow. Anyway, everything's going fine. I did end up setting it with the Flower Light Illusion powder. You guys, I gotta tell you something. So it has been suggested to me in the comments that this may be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder, which is, you know, my longtime favorite. I just busted into this brand new one. And so the other day I did a half and half face. Half of my foundation set with the Charlotte Tilbury, half set with the flower powder. I couldn't tell the difference. This stuff was like smoothing just as well as my Charlotte Tilbury. Didn't seem to dry me out. I'm gonna have to do more testing on this, but would you guys like to see a whole day wear test doing that, putting this side by side to the Charlotte Tilbury? Let me know down below. It's looking good so far, you guys. On the rest of my face, CoverGirl bronzer and blush. This is Love Me. And highlight, I just went with the old e.l.f. I don't know if this one is still available. It's one of their summer limited edition. It's so pretty. My eyes are the ColourPop That's Taupe palette. This was sold out the other day. I hope it comes back. Not that I need another one, but it's gorgeous. It's like right up my alley. And mascara, I picked the Revolution Blowout, which I totally purchased for the packaging, but thankfully it's also a pretty nice mascara. I do like it. And my lip, ooh, I'm enjoying these. Flower Beauty is now at CVS, if you didn't know that. And I picked up 2 of these Chill Out Lip Glaze. They're in the CBD line. Why am I holding this so weird? They're in the CBD line. I didn't want to cover up the name and whatever. This is like YouTuber problems. Anyway, I'm wearing today the shade called Zen, and I also picked up Dazed. I really like the formula of these. They're like a cross between a lip gloss and like a lip stain, although they don't stain your lips, but it's not a super thick glossy formula. It's more of a thin glossy formula, but because it's got some of that glaze sort of ness to it, it sticks around for a while. It doesn't just disappear if you're drinking beverages, whatever. Anyway, first impression of wearing them, it's not a first impression. I've worn them like 4 times now. I like them. There you have it. That's what I got going on. I'll be back in a bit with a daylight check-in, and I will come back tonight and give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, I was not paying attention to what time I started this. We're probably around the 4-hour mark. It is 3:41 right now, and here is the daylight. You know what's funny is that, oh, beside the squirrel that's watching me, I seem to think I'm darker than I am, because this maybe isn't too dark, or I mean too light for me. I don't know. Here we go. It feels a little bit drying. See how I get the tiny, I mean, of course I get wrinkles when I smile, but like, do you see how dry they look? Like how dehydrated they look? Not dry, but dehydrated. So I think it's a little bit drying. I mean, yeah, I can see more of my forehead lines than I normally can. I can see my crow's feet more than usual. So I think it's a little bit drying. I did get a look in the mirror, just a random, like, look in the mirror from a distance, and it actually looks quite nice. Just randomly, I think it looks nice from a distance as well. I'm not noticing anything unusual. Feels very lightweight. Feels like nothing, really. You like how you got a good look at my eyeballs there? There you have it, guys. There's squirrels all around me right now. Like, I feel like maybe they're planning a coup or something. Okay, I'm gonna go now. If you never see me again, blame the squirrels. 9:06 p.m. Let's take a look at how the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Glow has held up. If I look green, it's all figurative. I'm filming this on election night. I muted the election coverage for a moment, but I figured I might as well record this and get it out here in case my dinner decides to come out. I'm so anxious. Oh my goodness gracious. But let's talk makeup, because that is my happy place. Unfortunately, this one's not making me super happy. Here's where we're at. So it's very comfortable in terms of being lightweight, and it looks really nice. My skin feels really tight right now, really dry and tight to the point where it's almost itchy. Like, I want to itch my nose right now. I did have to blow my nose, so any product missing from my nostrils, just ignore it. It was... had to blow my nose. I couldn't wait any longer. But the thing with this is just, I don't think it's great for dry skin. That's a deal breaker for me. Well, let's zoom in and take a look. So it's breaking down a little bit on my chin at this point, but in terms of maturing skin, I don't really see too many issues. It's fairly gracefully degrading. It is kind of disappearing in some places, but it's graceful. It's not settling into lines. It's settled a tiny bit into my deepest chin line, but all the rest of my lines, it's not settling in really much at all. The concerning other issue is that on both sides of my nose, kind of toward as you go from the nose to the cheeks, it appears to have sort of shriveled up and collected along the edges of some skin that is probably due to exfoliate away, and that's just never a cute look. It's doing pretty fine everywhere else. It's a little bit accentuating my crow's feet area, but it's not settled on the texture between my eyebrows, and my forehead looks okay, if a little bit dry. The thing is, when my skin starts to dehydrate, the micro wrinkles are more visible than when it's not dehydrated, when I'm properly hydrated and moisturized. So the fact that it's also uncomfortable in terms of dryness, not a good sign. So I think if you don't have as dry skin as I do, the other features of this foundation might be all right, because it seems pretty good for maturing skin. It looks nice on the skin, with the exception of where it has issues with dry skin. So it's kind of one of those mixed bags. If I had to give a grade to the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Glow for dry and maturing skin, I'm gonna call it a C. I'm gonna say if you don't have super dry skin, you might want to check it out, because I think that really brings the grade down for me, is the performance with dry skin. I'm also a little bit irked by, maybe it's just the fact that glow can mean so many things, but it just doesn't have the finish I was expecting. When I compare it to the finish on Conceal and Define and the finish on Conceal and Hydrate, when they call it glow, I would expect it to be at least as glowy as their other products, and I don't think this really is. So, yeah, we're gonna go C. Try it if you have less dry skin than I do. Otherwise, I will leave that decision up to you. There you have it. Another episode of Foundation Fest is in the books. If you enjoy foundation reviews, if you had fun with this one, give me a thumbs up down below. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. I keep a running list and I buy them whenever I can. We're gonna have a handful of high-end ones coming because of the Sephora sale, and I bought a few, so get ready to shift back into high-end gear if that's your jam for a moment. As always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for new videos. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.